I now call the June 1st, 2023 Senior Citizens Advisory Board special meeting to order. Has this meeting been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the Nevada Open Meeting Law?
Yes, it has.
Thank you. Would the Deputy City Clerk call the roll, please?
Chair O'Rear-Cameron.
Present.
Vice Chair Weinstein-Hall.
Present.
Member Patarettu is excused. Member Galati.
Present.
Member Mosdeen.
Present.
Member Drum. Present. Member Lee.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Deputy City Clerk. Item number 3, public comment. Comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing and hearing none. Item number 4, for possible action to approve the final minutes by reference of the regular meeting of April 6th, 2023. Do I have a motion or any amendments?
I make a motion, this is Yvette Weinstein Hall, Vice Chair, make a motion to accept the minutes from the last scheduled meeting that we had on April 6th be approved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Item number 5, report by board members regarding what we learned from the People Policy Project Training, all wards. And we will start with Ward 2, Vito Galati.
Yes. A week ago, I attended the meeting at Breakfast Buzz, which is held usually monthly, and it's always good to attend those meetings.
Member Galati, sorry to interrupt. We want to get your highlights and takeaways from the training we were just at today.
I'm sorry, that's right. I'm sorry, we're on item?
Yeah, so we're on item number 5, report by board members regarding what was learned from the People Policy Project Training that we all just attended.
Nothing to report.
Okay, and now we have Ward 2, Yvette.
Yes, Yvette Weinstein Hall. We had a very interesting meeting talking about policy, project training, etc. We did a key to our success through True Crawlers, which I understand has been used throughout the city. And so we all took kind of a test as to what a particular color we were. And it was very interesting to see that most members fit their category. They had a little crossover. So I found that fascinating, and I learned a lot. We also went over through our attorney the purpose, bylaws, and open meeting law regarding this particular board. And we learned that in 1976, the Senior Citizens Advisory Board was limited to its purpose as talking about the various senior citizens. As of today, that our purpose has been expanded to include health and safety and other items. So we have a much more, outside of just senior citizens, a much more hopefully effective way to discover the problems within our various wards affecting senior citizens. Anyway, I enjoyed the training, and I always enjoy what Gregory has to tell us and explain. The speaker that did the True Colors was terrific, and again, I understand that she has taught this many times to various other city employees. So I think we're all on the same page as to that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. And Ward 3, we have Jennifer.
Ms. Member Drum, I think that Yvette did a great job summarizing it. And one of the things that was valuable to learn is that we all have different priorities based on our color and how we hear and accept and receive things. So if we will take a moment and look at each individual, we might be able to deliver things in a different format that would be more receptive to them. So I think that there was a lot of value in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Ward 4 is myself, Deanna Rear Cameron. I absolutely love the True Colors. It was not only educational, but fun, because you can now look at each other and see, and I think that's going to really help moving forward when we start to tackle issues and other things on the agenda. And it's interesting to see that we all kind of have a toe in at least 2 of them, maybe more. And then also getting better clarification on the board, since we did have such a broad purpose. And I think that it was really good to hear from Gregory Gray on, you know, the fact that we do have a lot of departments here within the city that we can reach to him to get the contacts, so that we can, when we're getting the information in our ward, reach out to those departments to try to see what we can do before it becomes a council issue, which is great, because that means we can potentially get things done maybe even a little faster, so we're not waiting for meetings and getting on agendas. And I think that was very good to point out, that we ourselves have access to the various departments to see if they're hearing the same thing, et cetera. So that was very good. And just hearing the way the growth is, although I've been a part of that growth, and so has Yvette, I think it's wonderful for everyone to hear and see, and also to get on record now, that in the beginning, we didn't really have a senior services department when she and I were on the board, and we were under a different position in the city. So it's kind of nice to see how everything has evolved, and although it's not where every single one of us would like it, everything takes time. It takes time, funding, and manpower. So having those things brought to our attention is good, so that it reminds us that we have made progress. And that really touched me today, the reminder that, hey, there's been progress. Do we want more? Yes, and we're going to get it here as a team now that we know all our colors, right? And I think it's wonderful to just have that cohesiveness and that understanding moving forward. So I thank everyone that put this together and everyone that spoke to us today. And now I would like to go back to Ward 1, if I may. Nicole Graham, because she just joined us, and we are now talking about what we learned from our training today. What was your take from it?
That's it.
And I'd also like to say a big warm welcome to Nicole Graham, Ward 1. Thank you for joining us here on the board. And while she's understanding the system, I just want to say that I've actually known of her for quite a few years. Gosh, it's been 10, 11 years. And she's been very instrumental in the senior industry. So thank you for joining us and putting it on your radar to be on this board.
Thank you. Nicole Graham, Ward 1. I think my takeaway is still just learning and listening to how we can better, as a group, as a board, really work together for the senior citizens here in Las Vegas. I think each of us wards have different various things that will take place, and together I'm sure we'll come together and find out what is the best for us as a whole. So just looking forward. It's my first one, so learning as I go. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome again. Ward 5, we have Charles.
Yes, I got a lot of information from the True Colors seminar, Keys to Personal Success. I learned a lot about myself, and for as how I interact with people and the things that I do. And the other meeting, the purpose, where we are going, where we're trying to go, the bylaws. And, I learned about what is a meeting, what is not a meeting, and things that we should discuss and shouldn't discuss. So it was very educational, for me.
Wonderful, thank you. And Ward 6, we have Caroline.
Caroline Mosdeen, Ward 6. Regarding the True Colors program, I found that extremely enjoyable, and it was very informative, and individual participation made it even more fun, and gathering at different tables with each of us, I think we also had the opportunity to share a little bit more on a smaller personal basis. So I thought that was an excellent setup and way to handle that. I thought also that we learned a lot individually about the benefits of understanding the way different personalities handle gathering, processing, and communicating information, and hope to be able to put that information, everything that I learned, or at least part of what I learned, into practice. As far as Gregory and Jeff's information, I think that was something that we as a board have been hoping for. We all have in the past worked kind of individually, and I think both Gregory and Jeff put it together in such a cohesive manner that it was very helpful regarding history as well as the current organization of our board. And once again, I think that's something that now that we have this information, we'll be able to move forward with much more cohesiveness. Thank you.
Thank you. And item number 6, discussion for possible action regarding priorities for the Senior Services Strategic Outreach Plans, all wards. I think what we can do on this one is I will also go through word by word just so that we can keep the flow going and we can keep it a timely meeting. And if you're still kind of chewing on everything and not sure, that's okay.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
Gregory Gray for the record. So I know that between our tour and our training, you guys have had a lot of information to download and process and digest. So in this particular instance, I did speak with our manager, Jocelyn Blewett-Fisher. She will be attending your July meeting to expand on health and wellness initiative, as well as give a little bit of direction on what she's looking for when it comes to our Senior Services Strategic Outreach Plan. So this will be a great opportunity for you guys to kind of, once again, like ward by ward, kind of like have those, discussions, those points, those takeaways, and then bring those back for the July meeting to solidify that discussion for action for the strategic plan that we can take back to the team and get a strategic outreach plan drafted for you guys to approve, as well as get to our leadership for approval as well. And I will leave that to your, if that's something you want to do.
So am I understanding that we can table this item so that we can all chew on it a little more and then she'll come and then we can do it? Is that correct? Because that's what I was wondering about, is if anybody's going to be fully prepared today after all this information.
Jeff Dorkak, Assistant City Attorney. Yeah, that would be fine. We would just hold the item in abeyance, and maybe it'll work well in tandem if we put an item on for the mission statement discussion that Mr. Galati suggested to staff before the meeting. So it might end up working out well.
So is everybody in agreement to obey this item so that we have more time after?
You'll go ahead and do a motion to hold the item in abeyance until the next meeting of the board.
Perfect. Do I have a motion to hold this item number 6 in abeyance until our next board meeting?
Yes, Yvette Weinstein Hall, I make a motion to hold item number 6 in abeyance until our next meeting, where to be discussed at that time.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Item number 7, discussion for possible action regarding next steps and future meeting topics of the Senior Citizens Advisory Board, all wards. One of the things that came from the meeting is we talked about going to the different departments on things. I would like to suggest that maybe we have some of those departments actually come to our board, or maybe get some sort of a list so that we can kind of decide which ones. That would be nice if we could get our various city departments to come in and speak. I'm not sure how the rest of the board feels about that, but now that, we're talking about how we have the departments at our disposal, it'd be kind of nice to know who does what and who we would call. Does anybody else have any discussion?
Caroline Mosteen, Ward 6. I think that's an excellent idea because I think we need a point of contact and having some idea of the organization and a person who would be willing to hear from us. And then maybe they can give us an idea of the parameters of what they want to hear from us as well, so that we don't waste their time either. So I think having that forum would be an excellent idea, so thank you.
Sorry, Yvette Weinstein Hall. It would be nice to get a list of the various departments and the contact information. So if we do have questions regarding traffic or health and safety or any other type of issue in our particular wards, we could call. So I think that maybe Gregory can get a hold of that for us, and we can get that at the next meeting. I would appreciate.
Thank you. And I think on that note that our next one for our future meeting topic is already the health and wellness department portion. And then we can go maybe in the next meeting, I guess. Is that how we would do it? Determine which ones will be next?
Jeff Dorkak, Assistant City Attorney. Yes, we'll just make sure we have items on there so we can line up the meetings accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any other discussion for next steps and future meeting topics?
Caroline Mosteen, Ward 6. There are two small things that I've kind of spoken about. One, perhaps we can do either with small groups or figure out how to do it as a board. But I have a great, or I shouldn't say great, I have an understanding of my ward, both the physical area as well as some of the people that are there, since I get to see them on a regular basis. But for the same token, I don't really have much of an understanding of other wards, and I kind of think it would be nice if we had the opportunity to maybe get to see some of the other wards, whether it's geographic or kind of go out and around the other wards. Some wards, like Ward 6, has this great building and office that we get to meet as a satellite office. Others do not. Some have the opportunity to have meetings at a secondary location. So I'd kind of like to know a little bit more about the boards, the other wards rather, and I think that would be helpful if anybody else is interested in that. Again, we could probably do it more or less on our own in small groups if it wasn't anything that the entire board needed. That's okay by me too. The other thing is I've been asking, and I do understand that now the maps are available for the redrawn ward designations. I've been asking for them, have not gotten them yet from my councilwoman staff. However, I think probably most of us would appreciate that, both a combination of our ward as well as maybe the big picture. And if we could have that, and I'm going to ask, since I got a thumbs up over there, I'm going to ask if we could have that in like 11 by 17. And the reason I ask that is when we get together for some other programs, like Spotlight or whatever, there are many people that come up to the table and they don't know where they live, and trying to show them that on a small map is not the easiest thing in the world either. So if we could have something that we could do, or if there was a loan out portion, some sort of a semi-larger map that would be available for a loan out, I think we would find that helpful. Thank you.
Jeff Dorkak, Assistant City Attorney. We can do 11 by 17, but black and white. I'm joking. We'll do it in color. I think all the maps also might be on a website, so when we track them down, I'll get it to Gregory, the link to shoot to you guys, so you can have the link as well as printouts. Yeah.
Wonderful. I think that's a great idea, especially in your ward, because there are sections of county right in the middle of it, because I used to live in one of those. And it was very odd. And yes, at the meetings, the aging in place that I do, and then the spotlighter thing, we do get that question a lot, you and I. So I think that'll be fantastic, and just make sure we carry it with us. Does anyone else have any possible action regarding next steps? I think we're going to do more of that at the next meeting, it sounds like, and future meeting topics.
Here I go again, Caroline Mosteen, Ward 6. This will probably be covered at the next meeting, but if, in anticipation, this is something that we've kind of spoken about before, or a little bit. When we're talking about a specific topic that the entire board is going to be kind of working on, maybe as a priority, whether we take one or two when we decide that at our future meeting, one of the things that I know my councilwoman, Nancy Bruni, was always very interested in is she asks me the same question all the time. When I come to her with a comment, she'll say, how many people have told you about that? How many people have asked about that? How many people seem to have an interest in that? Whether we're talking about having a luncheon, or is a luncheon better than a breakfast? And I'll say, gee, people like breakfast. And she'll say, how many people have said breakfast over lunch? And I go, I'm not really sure. So one of the things that I would like to discuss at that time is to kind of finite maybe a way that we can have, when we select a topic, that we can have or prepare ourselves some form of a small questionnaire or whatever, so that we all have it, and then when we come back to our meeting with some of the results of the comments, we say, 15 people in my group out of the 50 that I've spoken to had a real interest in XYZ. Then we can start to gather data, and that data then would be more helpful when it comes to the spot where we want to present something to the city council. So that's just a kind of a tie-in. I think it's a little overlapping, but I hope that everyone understands where I'm going with it.
Yvette Weinstein Hall, I agree with you totally. I think that Councilman Seaman has asked me that very question. And I think they're interested in statistics. They're interested in knowing what the various seniors want, what their concerns are, what facilities or what kind of programs they can participate in, et cetera. So statistics are a wonderful thing, and I think that would make it more effective in our presentation when we get to it before the City Council.
Vito Galati, Ward 2. I think we're in the right direction. I think in order to gather needs, and we need to work together, simply because we cannot reach everyone, even in our own district. And so by doing this, I think we can get a sample and of commonalities. And I think what prevails at one, it might be some differences, but I think what we will get an idea where we should hone in and even address it and bring it to the council person's attention also. And I know all my feedback is usually from the breakfast and the council persons, the monthly breakfast meetings, but it's limited again, whoever attends that. And what happens to the rest. And I think by opening up to all the different areas that we have, rather than just honing in on my district, it would improve, and we could work with something like that.
Gregory Gray for the record. I know that this has been mentioned before, but I wanted to kind of repeat it for the record, that I know that there have been some requests to the council office for like specific senior events or what have you. And I know that we have communicated to the board that you also have another avenue through our outreach team, Neighborhood Revitalization and Community Engagement, where they will be able to partner with you as a representative of the board to be able to execute those events, as well as get those numbers back to your council person, where you can say, I partnered with Neighborhood Services Outreach Team to do a senior coffee, for example, and we had over 20 seniors attend and what have you, and we asked them these questions, or we wanted to see what was important to them in their neighborhoods. So this also like harkens back to that departmental collaboration where what may seem like like something you would want to do with your council person, there are other departments that are able to execute those as well. Like for example, Member Weinstein Hall talked about mentorship, and we have a mentorship program through our youth development and social innovation team. So I think it's once again identifying those key topics or events that you want to execute and collaborating with the correct department to get those done. That way, when you are reporting to your council, you can say, I partnered with the outreach team, or I partnered with YDSI, we did a mentorship, we did a coffee event, this is how many seniors we talked to, or this is how many seniors we paired with youth for mentorship, just to give you an idea of how that flow would work.
Deanna Rear Cameron, once again, that lends to getting the department information, which is perfect, and probably the most important departments that you think we would work with more as a priority on our agenda first. And also along the lines of a survey, I will dig out a survey that I did when I was under councilman before he turned out. With his staff, we came up with a survey that we are actually doing. And former Ward 5 John and I would do some of the events out there, all the senior events that I'm already involved in, and we would have a table given to us, and we would literally help people with a map. That's why it's funny these are coming up, because it's bringing back that I've done this, and you're right, we need to do it. And we'd help people figure out where they were, because believe it or not, a lot of people didn't know what ward they were in, and I was actually kind of surprised with that. And then we were able to let them know if they were county and that they would have to go to the county commissioners. And so we kind of helped direct, but at the same time, we asked them to do the survey and told them you do not have to put your name to it. We just want to know, and can we please at least put your ward? So I will get that out and I will share it with the board, and we can see maybe if there's some different touches to put to it or things to take out or whatever, maybe just as a basic foundation. So I will find that. Does anyone else have any other next steps or future meeting topics? I think we're covering a lot, which is great.
This is Nicole Graham, Ward 1. I just have a comment, I guess being the newbie, I'll use that. I think it's good to know what has been working and what hasn't been working. I think best to communicate, right, what wards may be working for you, maybe working well in another ward, or what are those best ways to move forward on certain things. So I think it'll be great to hear from other wards, what are they currently doing in their ward, so I can either mirror that, or we all need to be mirroring it, et cetera, as well as moving forward. We're smarter, not harder, right? We work well together instead of in silos. So I think the more that we can work together is helpful. So knowing those departmental collaborations will be key as we move forward.
Beautiful. We definitely need to keep that in mind, and especially now that we know all our colors, right?
This is instruction.
Yeah, so definitely, and I am here for anyone. And I know Yvette is as well, because we have been on this board and watched the transition through the 6 years, and we've definitely seen a lot of what's worked and what's not worked, and I'm here anytime. And I also have been inviting some of the board members, when I know it's in their ward, to my Aging in Place events, because I do have a nonprofit outside of this. So you're more than welcome to reach out to me and say, hey, Deanna, don't forget about me. I don't care if it's in another ward, because Caroline, when I remember to email her the information, she comes with me all over. And I think it's amazing, because we're both learning a lot through the speakers that I'm bringing. So my door is always open to you. It's probably better to text or email, I'm not going to lie, because I get so many senior calls. But definitely, and thank you for stating that, Nicole, because that's a part of our unity training today, right? Making sure that we all share and learn from each other on all of it. And I just have to say, there's a man I haven't seen in a while that stepped in. Hi.
Former attorney.
We know him, don't we, Yvette? Does anyone else have any other future meeting topics? Okay. Item number 8, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the board. No subject may be acted upon by the board unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come forward and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion or on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing and hearing none, our next Senior Citizens Advisory Board meeting is July 6th, 2023 at 1 p.m., and we are now adjourned.